What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so there are reports out now that there is very little interest among NBA teams when it pertains to Russell Westbrook. I mean, that's what's being put out there. Russell Westbrook, of course, now that we are I guess 6 weeks removed from free agent signings, the big free agent signings that we see, even some of the players who are no longer in their primes, like Chris Paul, of course, have subsequently signed with their new respective teams, the Clippers. Chris Paul returned to Clippers. You know, even some of the lower tier bottom guys have already signed. So no, Russ has not um, yet agreed to or come to terms with a team as far as coming back for what I believe will be his 18th NBA season. Now, Russ does intend to come back for his 18th season. He's made it abundantly clear, but you know, according to reports, teams are not very interested in him. There's low interest. My my observation of that, and my opinion of that, is that that's not very surprising considering the horrible press that he's gotten over the past several years. When you look at the constant negativity surrounding Russell Westbrook when it comes to reports about him and teams, when you have a constant smear campaign orchestrated by certain members of the Lemedia aimed at Russell Westbrook, constantly blaming him for any team that he's on, as far as them losing games, as far as underachieving, and then you give a stretch as far as losing a series. The first player that the media and unfortunately certain fan bases of those teams look at is a guy like Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook has become, without a doubt, in my opinion at least, the most underappreciated superstar in NBA history. It's just interesting to me how this guy has put up phenomenal numbers for long stretches of his career. He's done something, average a triple double for a season, that only two other players have done in the history of the game: Oscar Robertson and Nikola Jokic. And Russell Westbrook did it four separate NBA campaigns. And yet, he just doesn't get the respect that these other guys get. They'll make excuses that he's still in rebounds. And, um, there's these stupid narratives that, oh, when he gets triple doubles, he's stat padding. So therefore, there's there's this myth that his teams lose the majority of his games when he's a triple double, when he acquired a triple double, when in reality, his teams win about 74% of the games in which he acquires a triple double. Russell Westbrook is also a player who has elevated his team with his stellar play, uh, even when he did not have a substantial secondary star. When he was playing with Victor Oladipo, he was able to lead the Thunder to 47 wins, which, when you look at it, um, as competitive as the Western Conference was at that time, when you look at the fact that uh, outside of Victor Oladipo, he didn't really have much offensive help on that squad. If you looked at that season when he won MVP, oftentimes the Thunder lost their lead as soon as Russell Westbrook went to the bench. You see what I was talking about. But yeah, man, getting back to the point, it's almost like mission accomplished when it comes to the media, because they wanted this. They wanted this. They wanted Russ out the NBA. And I'm gonna tell you another thing too. I wouldn't put it past them to be so petty that they don't want Russ meeting certain milestones. I wouldn't put it past them to be this petty. Russ is about, I believe, I think he's 500 or 600 points away from passing Oscar Robertson for most points ever scored by a point guard. Oscar scored 26,710 points in his illustrious career. All right. Um, Russell Westbrook is on the verge of passing Jason Kidd for most rebounds ever by a point guard in their NBA career. I don't know how far he could go up when it comes to other records, but I do know that he's right on the cusp of joining LeBron James as one of two players with 25,000 points and 10,000 assists. So, yeah, when I say that, there's a certain element that doesn't want him back because they don't want him. They're that they're that petty. They don't want him acquiring certain records, which elevates his Hall of Fame status. And at the end of the day, when people think of Russell Westbrook, the haters, they love to point out the negative. They love to point out the fact that he was not a good 3-point shooter. They love to point out the somewhat high turnover rate. Although, when you look at Russell Westbrook's overall career turnover rate, it's rather similar to LeBron James. But because LeBron James played with an infinite amount of talent to offset his weaknesses, because LeBron James was gifted to be about 6 inches taller and 80 pounds heavier than Russell Westbrook. So his style of play, which is similar to Russ in many aspects, uh, leads to him to be overpowering. So it doesn't matter, what I'm saying, if his shooting ability is still subpar. Uh, what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. So look, at the end of the day, this is what they wanted. This is what they've campaigned for. They want this guy. If they had their way, this guy would have been out the league 2, 3 years ago. But it is what it is, and we'll see. We'll see what happens this next season. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.